What is up, YouTube? Brad, what is going on?
Not much. Just gearing up for the Thursday night game tonight and trying to hunker down. We got some cold weather blowing through, so getting settled in here in the South for some cold weather finally. No
Yeah,
short
we've got
day for us this year. No short.
yeah. Well, we it's warm here, fairly warm. But Jags at Jets right tonight, so they're going to be some rainy weather for that game. So Durs is here. Good evening, Seth. Thanks for stopping in. Trev, the one of the teams in the big final. So we'll get into that. Comics by the Bay. Good evening. I know there's a bunch of different streams going on tonight. A few live streams. So we'll probably keep this fairly short. I figured we want to highlight we finally come down to the final of our fantasy football league. So um, figured it was good, about time that we spoke about it, so we know who's in the final and who are. And Brad, right? You're in the third place game, right?
Yes. The I guess technically the second loser. I'm
You're
trying to
right.
play for the second loser spot.
Yeah. So let
Oh, well.
me let me bring up the bracket so we can take a look at it. So yeah, last week we had you, Brad, take on Trev, the shipping guru, and he beat you up a little bit, 154-85. I know you had, Jonathan Taylor go down early in his game, so you were without your big running back.
It was brutal, man. It's the kind of stuff that you have to hope doesn't happen. You know, you have to hope that that doesn't happen. 2 points from him was not going to be enough. Trev's got a juggernaut team.
He does. Yeah, I mean, you look at it, right? I mean, obviously Patrick Mahomes is just very consistent. You've got Barkley, who's having a bounce back year. Um, I didn't realize that AJ Dillon was having such a big, because Green Bay has that two-headed monster at running back.
He got 2 early touchdowns last week. He scored 2 touchdowns before Aaron Jones scored his first. I think
Oh
Jones
wow,
got more yards, but it's hard to keep a guy Dillon's size out of the end zone. So,
yeah, he's a big back. Yep,
so
right. And he's got Jamar Chase. And Chase really hasn't had. I mean, I think he's not a year like he had last year, but he's still putting up some pretty good numbers. And then AJ Brown. I mean, Philly has just been unbelievable.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I guess
AJ Brown's done a great. That was a great move for him.
how has Mark Andrews been for you this year? He hasn't had. I mean, because I know Baltimore has not. Their offense has not played well.
Mark Andrews hasn't scored a touchdown since week 6.
Oh,
It
jeez.
pains me to say that, but Merry Christmas to you too.
Yeah,
Everybody in the chat. Merry Christmas, y'all. Thanks.
Kenneth is always in the chat, hanging
Yeah,
out, supporting everybody. So yeah, Kenneth, good. Merry
appreciate you
Christmas
being
to
here.
you and your family and your friends. But yeah, I mean, so that was a tough game. I know you had an early lead. I think you had some players right on that played Thursday night or Saturday.
I
So you
think
had
I
a
was
little bit of
done
an
before
early
Trev.
lead, right? But
Yeah, I was done before Trev started. All of I got between Thursday and Saturday, I was done. So I pleaded with him to play down to the level of his competition last week, and he did not listen. So yeah, man, that was it's interesting to yeah, Barkley's had a bit of a breakout year. Mark Andrews, though, I mean, it's right now. It's Travis Kelce and everybody else. There is no number two. I mean,
yeah, no, it's true. I mean,
there's not a number two tight end.
he scores. It seems like he's scoring multiple touchdowns almost every week. Kelsey.
Yeah, you would draft him. I mean, he's got to go soon. whenever you draft. So this time next
I
year, I
mean,
mean,
he's putting up wide receiver numbers. You're right.
yeah,
I mean, he's so
sure, yeah,
consistent. Yeah.
ridiculous, ridiculous numbers.
So Trev is in the final, and then the other playoff matchup was Cole versus Tylox, and Tylox took him down.
The rookie fantasy guy,
Yes.
Mighty Mullet. It's got to have something to do with the jujitsu. I think he's he's honing he's getting his inner chi going or something. But he had a really good
Yeah,
year.
I mean, I think he got a little lucky with Hurts. Jalen Hurts has had an incredible year. I mean, the Eagles have had an incredible year. I don't know if anybody really, I think people thought the Eagles would be good this year. I don't think they thought they would be that good. The way they've played. The Eagles have really.
Scroll down to Tylox's. I want to see his bench for a second. Okay, so he finally filled that spot. He had an open spot on his bench for the entire year, just taunting us like I don't even need to fully fill my roster to beat you guys. And so yeah, he's done a great job.
Yeah, and Cole, like the Lions, has kind of come on. He came on late and he put up a pretty good year himself, but just couldn't beat the mullet.
Cole had a really good so his bell cow this year, Austin Eckler has had a really good, probably better than normal year. Goddard was doing real well before he went down. I got a
Yeah, I
lot of
mean, right. I think
really.
the other name is Kittle, right? Probably George Kittle is probably one of the other bigger tight ends, but I mean, he's not having anywhere near the year that Kelsey's having.
Yeah, he had that. Last week was his best game this year, but he was right there neck and neck. I mean, those three guys, Kelsey and Kittle and Mark Andrews, were neck and neck for a while. But Kelsey's just distanced himself from. Now the other two guys have been hurt. Kelsey, I don't know. Trev would know, but Kelsey, I don't remember him being hurt any in the last few years. Tell me if I'm wrong, Trev, but
Well, yeah, Trev saying
he's
Kelsey greatest tight end ever. Could be. I mean, it's nice that you have Mahomes at the other end throwing to you. So, and the fact that they've had a pretty good group of, well, not so much this year, but in previous years they've had good wide receivers. So you can't cover everybody. Beckerman's here. Good morning. Good morning. Good evening, Beckerman.
what's
Michael,
up,
good to
Ackerman?
see you. Keeping up on the chat, but yeah. And I think so we've got tonight's game, and then Saturday we have a whole slate of games again. In the I think I think the Giants are playing Minnesota on Saturday as well. So whole slate of games on Christmas Eve.
That'll be a big game for you guys.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how what Minnesota team shows up, and then what Giant team shows up.
So, are you still playing your roster? Like, are you? I'm a play to the whistle guy. So even
Oh
though
yeah, oh
in
yeah.
the I'm
Yeah, I
not
mean, even though,
playing.
right? So, this is a 14 team league, and so a bunch of us are out of it, right? Comic Vet, Beckerman, Rosko, Cuppy, Will, myself, everybody. But I'm still managing the lineup, still, fighting to the end.
Yeah, we're fighting for dignity at this point. It's
Right,
like
exactly.
the final record. Finish above 500 if you can, because we just beat the crap out of each other all year long, pretty much.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, there were some early teams, right? So if we look at the overall standings of the regular season, right, there were some teams that were running away with it early, but everybody really kind of came back, right? I mean, Trev and Cole had the best record at 9-5, and then you had yourself and Tylox at 8-4 and 8-5. with a couple ties, but nobody really ran away with it. And then you look at all the teams that didn't make the playoffs at um,
A
8-6. So it was
quick
a pretty
question in the chat I wanted to answer. I noticed a couple of fantasy questions. So Frog Brawler, you think Zonovan Knight is worth starting tonight? I I don't know. I have him in another league. I'm playing in two leagues, and I did not start him in one of those leagues after he had a big game and then he had not so good game last week. So I kind of like went another direction with him. So I think he's been a surprise, but um, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think he was probably better with White in there than he was going to be with Zach Wilson in there. I
yeah.
think they're going to. It's going to be a shootout.
Well, it's a bad weather. It's going to be a bad weather game, windy and rainy for the Jags game tonight. So I'm sure that's going to play a factor, with the two young quarterbacks. But who knows, right? You say that, and then they end up 45-38 final. So you just never know.
Right. And Seth asked, in your league, is there a bunch of free agency
No.
going on? We are. Gosh, I don't even know. I've probably made 40 some odd moves this year. So the problem with our league being 14 teams is there's not a lot of quality out there. So you really have to do your research to get somewhere with you have to know like, hey, this guy's hurt, so I might need to pull this no name guy out of pluck him out of free agency.
Yeah.
So it's a big part of it because with 14 teams, we're all fighting for those those no name guys. It's the guys who are doing their research that really are taking advantage of it the most. I don't know that Tylox has made a ton of free agent moves or
I think we can look at that. Let me see. That there was a transaction, showed you how many transactions each team made. Oh yeah, so here it is, moves. So let's sort it. So yeah, Brad, you were at the top of the you and Beckerman were at the top of the transactions, and Tylox was in the middle. He had 18 moves. I had 10. I didn't have a lot. So and Zach was at 8. So yeah, I find myself sometimes like you want to pick up that player, maybe that free agent that had that big week, but then sometimes I don't want to chase players because you may cut somebody who then goes on and has a couple good weeks in a row. So
you can
that's
definitely overthink it for sure.
yeah, exactly. It's kind of like you want to trust your gut. So
It might be cool to show some of the folks in the chat who are not in the league, show them what kind of players we're talking about. If you go to the players tab at
oh
the
yeah,
and just let them see what we're dealing with as far as like if you go to like running backs or quarterbacks just to see what um and then hit like projected.
yeah. I mean the free agent poll, the free agent was very very thin.
Hit the
Most of
projected.
the guys are like, so all right, Taylor and uh, Bryce Hall, they were having good years, but they're on IR, they're out for the season. So and then you look at some of the other free agent running back wise, yeah, there's not, it's really thin.
On that center column, hit the projected total, like their score, the projected score.
Where, oh, projected here,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's what we're dealing with. Just so y'all know in the
Right.
chat what we're this is
It's
what we're fighting over,
yeah,
so to
slim
speak.
pickings for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, wide receivers, you might have somebody that potentially could jump out, but still, we start two running backs, two wide receivers, and a flex position. Um, and yeah, it was thin,
Durs, enjoy
definitely
that
thin.
movie, man. That's want to watch the new Top Gun. Should be fun.
Just catching up on the chat. Let's see. Yeah, no, definitely not. We were, and the reason why we initially, I think, were trying to keep it to 12 teams, but we had pretty good interest, from the community that we went to the 14 teams. And I think we have um, pretty much everybody coming back. We might have one open spot next year. I think we had
Yeah.
one team who was kind of, not involved, had some stuff going on, personally. So,
And we
I
pretty
think
much got a waiting list. I mean, we had people, gosh, if I knew, I wish I knew y'all were doing this.
right. Yeah.
Because I know 22 was 22 Comics was, he mentioned something about it. So yeah, it it's not. I mean, the only I wouldn't say the bench is. I mean, it's not great. I mean, you end up with a lot of projected 6 point guys on our benches and stuff.
Yeah, right. I mean, we have I forget, right? There's one IR spot, and then if we look at the bench, you've got six spots, six bench spots, and an IR spot. So
Yeah, so like for you, Frog Brawler mentioned Waller, so he's probably been sitting on somebody's IR this entire time, waiting for him to come back. And of course, this is the last week, so we're done after this.
Comic Cap, thanks for joining us. Yeah, yeah, it's yeah, definitely slim pickings, right? I mean, the first couple weeks, I think we saw some transactions, people picking up people, but now it's really, I think overall there were some bye week pickups and injury pickups, really, that you just, if you had a need and had to go out and get somebody. Um, I mean, even this week, right? So in the championship matchup, Tylox lost Jalen Hurts for the week because he's out, he's hurt. So he picked up Gardner Minshew, his backup. So he's definitely at a disadvantage at quarterback, but we'll have to see if Minshew can keep the Eagles rolling and put up Jalen Hurts type numbers. I mean, the
Yeah,
only thing I think the disadvantage is that he doesn't run the ball like
yeah,
Hurts did. He
that's
doesn't have the
exactly
legs
right.
like
So,
Jalen Hurts. So
yeah, that's the tough part there is getting those you know getting your quarterback scoring a rushing touchdown, or that's the tough part. That's what you're sacrificing this week.
yeah, Zach, one of our members who, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, did not have a great year. um, but yeah, so this is I'm showing off the championship matchup. We've got Tylox on the left and Trev on the right, and Trev, right now based on projections, Trev is you know 19-point favorite in the final matchup. So
Yeah, Seth, we're definitely doing it again next year. It's
oh
it's
yeah,
been cool to be so comic book community and have this as like another facet of what we like. You we know we had comics in common, and then you start doing this and realize, oh well, we've got other interests, and so that's been really fun to explore that.
yeah. I mean, I don't think we realize. I certainly didn't realize um, how big of football fans some of the comic book community were until we got the league going. Draft, you could tell people were knowledgeable. And then we've had a chat on Instagram going the whole year, and we've basically been just talking football in that chat, and just it's been fun. It's been a different aspect of the community that we've really had fun with.
Well, it's yeah, and it's not at least knowledgeable enough to have a live stream every week where we discuss it. And one thing I mentioned to you is I never knew that Mahomes was 4. Yeah, I don't remember. Um, but having people ask about fantasy questions in the draft. Hey, what do you think about starting? I've got 2 running backs. Who do you think I should start?
Yeah,
And
no, that was a surprise to us, right? As we were doing these live streams on Thursday nights, that we were getting people come in and ask us questions, which was interesting because I don't think any of us anticipated that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and for most of I think everybody in maybe Tylox, but everybody else I think has within our league is in multiple leagues. I know I'm in one other, and I know a number of the guys are in multiple leagues. Um,
I'm in two, and I can't remember if a particular player is in this one or the other one. It all just blurs together.
yeah, I was doing the same thing because I'm in one other league, and I'm like, oh, so and so's having a great game. That's going to be good for the comic book league, and I'd look and be like, oh no, he's on my other league.
Yep.
Yeah, and one of the things we kind of threw the league together, so which where we didn't do much thought about some of the rules, and so there's been a lot of talk about changing up for next year, maybe making it a keeper league, making some changes to maybe the scoring. So we're definitely going to be kind of revamping things as we go forward because we've had so much fun with it, and there's been so much interest in the league this year that definitely going to be making changes next year.
Whew, Trev, God bless you, man.
And I think I'm pretty sure Beckerman and I think
That's what
Alan Rue, the comic Viking, I think they're in multiple as well.
Yep.
So yeah, that is our matchup for the finals. This week, like I said, Trev is definitely sitting in pretty good shape. He's got a very good team. But Tylox has surprised people all year, so we'll see what happens. I mean, his losing his quarterback last week really puts him at a disadvantage. But we'll see. He's pulling rabbits out of a hat all year, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
And
that's
then we've got the Brad and Cole matchup.
what do you call that? The friendship game or something?
Usually we call it the loser bowl, but there's a
Yeah.
bunch of other losers. So
Yeah, we're looking down at several others from our
yeah, exactly.
our loser spot. So
But all right, so you pick. Oh, you're rolling with Wilson tonight, huh?
yeah, I mean, if you look at my bench, you'll see what I mean. I just didn't like the Purdy was my other quarterback going against Washington. I wasn't real sure about that.
Okay.
Plus Debo's out, so he's one weapon. I don't know if they try to, maybe try to run the ball a little more, but they're probably point total wise. I think the ceiling for Zach Wilson this week is higher than
Higher, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And he actually had a pretty good game last week coming back. So all right, and Cole's got and Eckler. Eckler's been great because I have Eckler in another league, and he's been probably the best back this year. I think he leads scoring in our league
the
from the
player.
running back spot.
Well, beside what I can't read what he's number one player rank.
Oh yeah, player rank. Yep. Okay. Yep.
So it's him and Josh Jacobs are the top two. Then has to be. Jacobs has really come on this year. He's done a good job.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, considering the year that Vegas is having, their some of their key players have put up good numbers, even though their record isn't as good as you might think. Wow, 30 years in my wow. Yeah, I mean, I think I first initially started playing probably in the late '90s,
That was my
and
first.
I was running. I was the commissioner. I was running the league, and it was before all of the fantasy. You had ESPN and Yahoo. I actually had to purchase a program, and then get a stats file every Tuesday, and run the stats, and then figure out who won, who lost, those type of things. That was the early days of fantasy before everything was. more things were online.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Seth. It definitely has made it fun, and of course we're all in a chat together as well, Instagram chat. So we talk during the week and stuff. So yeah, it's been a really good connecting thing for us to do.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't. You don't realize because we're usually just talking comic books that I didn't realize how big of a sports fans some of the guys were. So that's been fun, and not only football, right? I mean, there's a lot of other sports, college, football, college basketball. Um, I'm a big hockey fan. We've got baseball fans, so it's interesting to see the sports.
Yeah, Jags D is legit. They'll be good. I think they finally got the coach they really needed.
Yeah, I mean, I know Evan Ingram, their tight end, is actually who is not very good with the Giants, who signed with the Jags this year, is actually having a pretty decent year.
That's surprise. I mean, his big thing coming out of college was like a hybrid. He's a tight end that has speed more like a wide receiver, and what a big weapon he was, and it just didn't work out. And
Yeah, no, he just never fit in with the Giants. Yeah, but he's built more like, I mean, he's a tall guy, but he's built more like a wide receiver than he's not as big as like a Kelsey or a Kittle as far as weight and size. But yeah, I thought I was hopeful. I thought he was going to be good with the Giants, but he did not.
you
He's
hate
not
to
a fan favorite.
you hate to develop a guy and let him go somewhere else
Yeah, yeah.
and be productive. So, Too Tasty had an interesting using Vegas odds to determine projected points. If you have a tough choice between who to start, has been really good to me this past year. That's interesting.
Yeah, I usually look at one of the things I look at is the matchup. Like, what's the if it's an obviously offensive player, what the opposing defense is, what they're ranked against, whether it's a wide receiver against the pass, the running back against the run, that type of thing. I mean, that's usually one of the metrics that I'll look at if I'm trying to decide between two players, bench
Right.
or start.
And Kenny was asking, yeah, start two. I'm going to go with Murray and Harris. I think Harris is starting to come on now.
Yeah, yeah,
I do like Mostert. I'm a Dolphins fan. That's a little, but I do like Mostert. Um, and Algier's going to have to. He's going to have to share the backfield. So I don't know if that's a good in Atlanta. So I don't know that that's a good. I like Murray and Harris of those four.
yeah. I mean, Harris has had now the last couple of weeks has played well. He, the
Yeah,
Pittsburgh's played a little bit better. The quarterback, play is a little bit better. So, um,
he's another guy. They should just be, especially with your quarterback situation in Pittsburgh, should be riding him, man. I mean, just like feed feed that beast.
yeah, I think the fact that they were so inconsistent, their offense, the Pittsburgh's offense was really kind of inconsistent early in the year, and then once they've gone with their rookie quarterback and he's kind of settled in a little, that their offense is starting to play, and then Harris has seen the benefit of that.
Cayman, that's the
Yeah, I didn't. I never did that, but like I said, there was a separate program. You had to wait for like the stats file, to and you would upload the stats file, on like a Tuesday morning, and tabulate the results. But I mean, most of the guys in the league at the time would be doing it kind of on a napkin to figure out, what the rough score was. But there was no, live following the score because the league just, you couldn't. I would print out like a newsletter and or print out the standings and like fax it to all the guys in the league. I mean, that's where we were at, when we first started. So it's interesting to see how how far it's come now. Everything's online.
It's instantaneous. I mean,
Oh
you
yeah,
can
yeah. You're
find a
getting live updates, right?
snap
Yeah.
of a finger. It's there. I mean, you've got all the information you need right there. Yeah, it's unreal.
Yeah, so we've got Brad versus Cole, and then we've got Tylox versus Trev. So it's definitely and that was one of the things that we've talked about for next year is expanding the playoff teams. Right, we only had 4 playoff teams, so we're looking at expanding that. So definitely going to make some changes to the league next year. To
What's up, Chop?
Chop is here.
Merry Christmas, buddy.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
Watched
it
you
was.
open your
That's
wins and
that's felt like a bit of a victory for me just making the 4 teams
yes.
in a 14 team league. It's felt like we like you really did something if you made the final four in a 14 team league. In my other one, it's 12. No, we're 10 teams, and we've got like 6 making the playoffs and 2. The leader of each division gets a bye the first week, which is what we had talked about
Right,
possibly
right.
next year.
Yeah, I think we're looking at maybe at least 6 teams. First leaders of the division get a bye, and then you'll have 4 other teams. So yeah,
Trev and Tylox would have had a bye last week, and 4 teams would have played. So it adds one more week on to the season, but it rewards. It gives you a really good incentive. Not that you're not trying to finish first in your division, but it gives you a really good incentive to
yeah,
coach
I mean,
coach your team up and get them to the top of the division.
Trev makes a good point. I mean, you look at Chris the Comic Vets team. He put up 166 points last week. He would have beaten anybody. He was the top scorer in the league. He would have beaten anybody if he was in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's had a good team. I think he's scored. I mean, he's riding the Bills pretty hard with his team, right? He's got Josh Allen, he's got Knox, he's got their defense, he's got their kicker, but Hill, Tyreek Hill, and Joe Mixon too. Mixon was hurt for a week or two, or a couple weeks, but he's had a really good year as well. So
Yeah, he's got a good team. I mean, I was just thinking this week. I have no idea how he lost 6 games.
yeah, it's true.
It's just running into a buzzsaw that week. I mean, there's nothing you can do. You just, I mean, because basically when he drafted his team, you have to have the mindset that, okay, you draft a, heavy for your favorite team. And then you're basically sacrificing 1 week. I know I'm going to lose 1 week,
Right,
but
right.
when they're on bye, oh, that's for sure. Yeah. What's up, Sleeping Comics?
Yeah.
Man,
Just yeah.
what
Well,
you
but
take your break
Jefferson's
from
great.
NFTs to come hang out with the fantasy football comic guy. Appreciate it. Good people.
Jefferson's had a good year, but Osborne, some of the other wide receivers in Minnesota, because Jefferson gets so much attention, Osborne's had a really good year.
He had a
So
big game for Tylox last week.
yeah, yeah.
25 or 26 points last week.
Timbo, thanks for checking us out. Thanks for stopping in.
Yeah, that's Stevenson. Yeah.
Ooh, -11. Ouch.
I don't remember where you're from, Sleeping. We're gonna hit the lows in the teens.
I think he's in. I think he's in Wisconsin. I know he's in the North Midwest somewhere.
Getting that straight Arctic blast.
Yeah. Well, it's cold. I mean, it's basically we're going to have bad weather throughout the entire country. I think this Christmas weekend.
Yeah, good thing you're not traveling this weekend.
Yeah.
I'd love to have you down in South Carolina, but it's a good thing you're not trying to navigate that mess.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought he was in. Yeah, I wonder. I'm wondering if we want to start. Another league. I mean, you know, I mean, I don't think our. I mean, it's a possibility that the players in our current league may want to join another league, but I think there's enough interest where we can probably have a second league within the community. If if not, maybe even more, because a bunch of people were um, definitely showed interest after they knew that we had started the league. So
Yeah, I know if we have, I mean, we might only have a couple drop off.
yeah, I think pretty much everybody's coming back. Maybe, like I said, maybe one, that may not come back for our league. So, and there were definitely a lot of other people that had interest. So,
Man, with the weather you guys are chopping, sleeping, or having, I'm gonna not complain about our
yeah,
low in the teens. I'm on my balcony right now.
yeah, I
Here,
think
if everybody wants to see my setup, I'll do a little spin.
yeah, you got like a little tent set up, right? A little canopy.
I've closed in all the panels. I've got my heaters over here. Got the game on here, and yeah. So
Oh, I just made you big, and that now you yeah.
there's my heaters.
Oh, nice,
Got the TV here, watching the
nice.
game in the background. So, and I've just got some panels up, closing in the whole thing. So
Yeah,
it's a good little
yeah,
setup. This is how I finish my evenings usually. So
and that's the smoking room too, right?
correct. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, I think I heard somebody, or I saw a post on Instagram that somebody said in, I think, Georgia, that they declared a state of emergency because they're getting some ice and cold temps.
Yeah, Frog, down in the South, you probably can't find bread on the shelves and water and yeah,
Bread,
milk,
milk. Yeah,
all
you're gonna
those,
be.
all those staples. Yeah, that's how we do it down here. We freak out. So oh man, that's rough. Negative temperatures for 3 days straight.
Yeah, that's not fun.
I didn't see. Did he say where are you from, Chop?
Chops.
He must be up there too, up that way.
I just sent him a package, and I'm drawing a blank. Where he's Midwest too.
Yeah,
he's.
God, hope it gets back above zero. That's whew.
Yeah, when you're negative, that's. I mean, it's going to be 20. I think our high for Saturday is supposed to be 20. Um, but you get a wind chill, maybe it feels like 10 degrees. But when you're negative, that's a whole
South
different thing.
Dakota.
All right,
I
South Dakota. Yeah, okay.
so I had some. I'm in real estate, and I had some clients, and I think they were from South Dakota, and they said they both almost died trying to travel in snowstorms there. Like their cars shut down, and they were stranded out in the middle of nowhere. Basically, thought they were going to die. And like two different times, each one of them separately, not
Oh wow.
together.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can. I gladly help people like that move to the South.
yeah.
Like, yeah, if you can get through 30s and in the teens at night, you can survive down here, Chop. So
Yeah, I was, talking. Like I said, I was telling you before we got streaming that my father in law lives in South Carolina. He moved from California to South Carolina, so I was talking to him today, and I'm like, if it's that bad, if it's icy or cold, we just don't go out. Like, it for us in the Northeast, when there's a bad snowstorm, you just stay home. You don't go anywhere. If you had plans, you got to cancel them. If you got to work, that's another thing. But it's when you call out sick or take a vacation day.
yeah, and they it doesn't take much for us to like shut down the city here. Yeah, I bet, man. That's rough. Ugh.
Yeah, that's if you're already at negative, or close, in the single digits or teens, and then you have the wind chill. Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah, saving lives. That's what I do, man. That's
Real estate and lifesaver.
right. I need to start pitching that more often.
Yeah. Too tasty. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, we've got the game coming on soon, and like I said, I know there's a bunch of other live streams going on. So, but yeah, so our big Super Bowl this weekend. We've got Tylox, so it's the Guru versus the Mullet. And then in the consolation game, we've got Southpaw Brad, and I think Cole, right? I think he mentioned today. I think I saw him in a stream that he was expecting to get some bad weather and some. Oh, here he is! Look who joined us.
How's it going, boys?
What's going on? Why are you pushing all that cold weather down here?
Yeah. I blame the American Northwest and that jet stream. Oh, boys, it's good to see you all. So, what did I miss?
Yeah. We were just talking about your, how did you score so many points but not make the playoffs?
Well, it's just there was a couple weeks where like your team kind of goes lean. We have those weeks, but unfortunately, when you go lean, this league does have a lot of very good football minds in it. I get that we're all comic book collectors and everything, but there's a lot of football minds there. So this is the kind of league that you cannot be lean in any week.
Did you? The week that the Bills were on a bye, how did you do?
What week was that? Week 7? I think I did okay. I'm not sure if I was up against you or not. But no, I just wanted to pop on and say, guys, thanks for letting me, Brian especially, thank you for letting me join the league. I had let me finish. I had that big fear that this is, let's be honest, it is an American sport, and being, like the token Canadian kind of thing, I wasn't afraid that, first of all, I wouldn't be allowed in, or B, that I would be laughed at. Like, what do you know? You're just a Bills fan, because of where you are. So I did come in with something to prove, at least to go that way. But I didn't realize that it would be so much fun. I know Brian and I have spoken about this before, but the chat on IG went so far in strengthening this league. It was so good. The chat and we kept the comic book stuff out of the league, out of the chat. Sorry, it was just football stuff. Guys posting funny stuff in the league, and like everyone was their own worst enemy on bad weeks. Like there wasn't that much like I've rubbed your nose in it kind of thing. There's a little bit of jarring back and forth, but when the weekend was finished, I found that it was pretty classy. So it was a hell of a lot of fun. It was a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot more of like, oh, good, player A had a great game and he's sitting on my bench. It's like
yeah.
But and we've had several of the members host the stream that we do here on Thursday nights, and I know Rosko was really into it. I talked to Rosko a little bit offline. He's like, I've always wanted to do kind of like a sports show, and I'm like, well, so he hosted, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks in a row, and he was putting clips together, and
so good. He was so good.
so much fun. So I was excited that that everybody was having so much fun with it. I mean, even
Geno Smith.
I mean,
well, you win some, you lose some, but I challenge anyone to say to me that that I was wrong going into week 1, that when I said the Seahawks won't win 3, 4, 5 games.
No, I was right there.
I challenge anyone to say to me, then Chris, you're wrong. Geno Smith is going to be an MVP candidate by the middle of the season and end up with a good year that deserves a contract, But
well, and the fact that they wouldn't, the trade they made, they wouldn't trade Geno Smith straight up for Russell Wilson right now. I mean, they wouldn't undo that. That was robbery.
Oh yeah.
I don't know of any team that would trade straight up for Russell Wilson right now for it to be a starting quarterback.
Yeah,
man, oh man, did he hit the wall?
But, yeah, and I think we had a bunch of even Aaron Rodgers is not. I drafted Rodgers, and he's not really had a great year. Russell Wilson, a couple, Matt Ryan, guys who have had success have not not played well.
The one thing I can say is, boys, I've always said the NFL is a young man's game, and that's starting to catch up with a lot of quarterbacks right now. Like, obviously, you can look at the Giants quarterback, you can look at the Bills quarterback, you can look at the Dolphins quarterback. These are all guys that are younger than 27 years old, and like the Chiefs as well. All these quarterbacks that are in their prime, whereas guys that were dominant 5 years ago aren't that way anymore at all. Like, it's a new guard. And like even the Bears with Justin Fields, like the Bears offense at the beginning of the year, I thought, my God, this kid is not even going to last. Now he's looking terrific, and he's a great fantasy quarterback too, because he runs. I get he's running for his life, because that is like the worst offensive line in the NFL. But my God, it really is. Okay, and Joe, but. Yeah, it really is a young man's game, and it's finally caught up with the quarterback position, in my opinion.
Well,
this year,
I don't think anybody thought Justin. I mean, it was like you were questioning them making that move. Period. It's like they I think they moved up to get him, and and in doing so, you sacrifice some of your future to do that, and so yeah, but he's really I don't know what. Flip a switch or something, but really doesn't have a ton of weapons either. I mean, they could build. He's the guy they could build that team around for sure. They've got a good running game, but they need some little more help on the wide receiver position, offensive line.
See everything on like who's their number one receiver? Is their number one receiver? Is he a number two receiver on your team? Like, think about it for a sec.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Just to answer your question, the Bills bye was week 7, and I did okay in week 7 against Nick.
Wow.
But yeah, let's see who.
Well, that's on paper.
And I started Matt Ryan, who only got me 9 points.
Oh wow.
On paper, your philosophy looked really good. It's basically you're saying week 7, I'm going to have a loss, but I should be pretty good every other week. Yeah. But we just beat the crap out of each other this year. I mean, we didn't.
Yeah, no, definitely a lot of, just head-to-head matchups that, there were. I think it was Chris and Trev who I thought kind of were going to potentially run away with it early on, and then everybody kind of, came back.
I don't want to say I plateaued or anything, but injuries like everything else caught up with me. I had lost Mixon for a couple of valuable weeks there, and didn't work out. And can you explain why Mixon was hurt for so bloody long?
Dude, he had a freaking concussion. Yeah, I don't know. They didn't want to pull a Tua, right? Like,
wheeling out a corpse.
He's good for a couple. Like, he's good for has he played a full season in the last 4 years?
Joe Mixon?
Mixon?
I don't think Joe Mixon's ever played a full season.
Last year was pretty much a full season.
I think I had him a couple years before that in fantasy. Okay. He was always had an issue.
I'll be honest now, Bearded. I know you're a Bengals fan, and God bless you for it. But when I picked Mixon, I was pissed off with myself because I'm like, God damn it, I don't want him because he always gets hurt. But man, he was a running back force to be reckoned with in a year where we didn't have necessarily running backs consistently perform week in and week out, right? Like, look at the Colts running back. My God, like, how many guys took him first overall, Jonathan Taylor, and he has not been what he was last year.
Well, and Mixon wasn't what he was last year by any means. And I think that was attributed a lot to trying to get their offensive line together, having a brand new offensive line and things like that. But man, that week he went off. I hope you had him in your lineup. He had like 5 touchdowns.
Yeah. Yeah, I would always start him and David Montgomery, no ifs, ands, or buts. And then I picked up Stevenson from the Patriots. And that was like that's what fluked me up to a really good start. And then eventually the buys caught up with me and injuries to key players. And then, you're picking Juju Smith-Schuster off the waiver wire to fill in holes kind of stuff. And yeah,
I think Stevenson was a surprise though, because New England really just never goes with one back. They kind of mix it up a lot. So he's had a really good year.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year, him and Harris were splitting it up, but Stevenson seems to have this breakaway speed, like that fifth gear. Once he gets through the linebacker line, and he's gone. And yeah, I think he would be a number one on any other team other than the Patriots, because the Patriots are always by committee. Take it from a Bills fan for the last 30 years. The Patriots are always running back by committee. But yeah,
they usually play like 3 or 4. So it's probably a big step for them to. Well, we're just going to go with 2 guys this year, and then ultimately settle on one. But he's had some monster games.
And are we talking that you have to own Super Pro comic book next year to be part of the league?
I mean, I think it just should be a given. This is a comic book league. It is the only NFL comic book around. Like, if you don't own a Super Pro first appearance, I don't know if you should be in the league. Like,
what's the minimum grade?
It's also it's probably the cheapest first appearance you could ever get. Like, I think I have 20 copies because I've bought them in bulk.
If you have a signed copy, can you have the number 1 overall pick next year?
Well, I have a signed copy. I've got a signed by the illustrator. I've got a signed Bendy.
Oh, that's right. He's got the Bendy figure. Yeah.
I've got a graded card. I'm good to go. So yeah, this should just be a Super Pro league next year for sure.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Happy to say I'm covered. So
yeah, I had a lot of
I
fun.
do have a slabbed first appearance. It's only I think it's a 9.2 or a 9.4. So a bucket list. I have 20 and I'm taking it to my shop. My shop's like working with me. We're gonna try and figure out if I have any 9.8 candidates. Because I want to be a 9.8 on the census.
Well, if not,
anyone deserves it. I do.
For sure. Well, if not, you can always buy one for $18. So
yeah, but I want the hunt of finding a raw one that then I can get slabbed. That's
how many issues was that?
It was 12 issues total.
Really? Oh, I didn't realize there was that many issues.
Holy crap! I would have guessed 3.
No, it was 12 issues. And Brian, there's an issue featuring your Giants in it.
Yeah, I think they did one this year or last year. They had a Barkley. Barkley was on the cover with them.
Yeah, but I'm saying Lawrence Taylor was in Super Pro, bro. So
I'm going on eBay after the stream.
What was that?
How many of the Pro Set cards do you have? That was a chase card forever back in the what was it, late?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have this. I only have one, and then I have one raw. So I don't have too many of the cards. So
yeah, I can remember in the NHL hockey version, Santa Claus was the chase card from Pro Set.
Yep.
Yeah, that's that, and they had a Payne Stewart also back in the day.
R.I.P. Payne Stewart.
Wow.
And speaking of which, Franco Harris passed away.
Right,
yes,
and 2 days before the anniversary of the Immaculate Reception.
Yeah,
and they were supposed to honor him this weekend, I think, right? They were going to retire his jersey. Weekend. That was so crazy.
Yeah.
That's the one thing the Steelers has the same kind of mentality as the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills don't retire numbers. It seems the Steelers the same way. It's only in the last couple of years the Bills have actually stopped honoring and started retiring some of the numbers that were already honored. So Jim Kelly got his number retired. Bruce Smith got his number retired. There is a tight end, Kelso, I believe. He's similar to the Arizona Cardinal few back in the turn of the century. That that stopped playing in the NFL, joined the United States military, went to Vietnam, and unfortunately was killed in action.
Oh,
So
wow.
his number is retired as well.
Yeah, Pat Tillman from the Cardinals.
Yeah, Pat Tillman and
Yeah.
Kelso, I believe that was that man's name that represented the Buffalo Bills. It's just a handful of numbers that the Bills ever retired, and it's the same thing with the Steelers. Just the odd couple they actually moved forward with and actually retired. And this weekend was supposed to be Franco Harris, and they waited specifically for this particular game because it was they're playing the Raiders. It was the Raiders at the Immaculate Reception.
Oh, because it's a night game too. I think they were hyping it up. Yeah.
Wow.
Was it Immaculate Reception against the Raiders?
I thought that's what I heard on the radio.
I was thinking I'm not a Steelers fan. I was thinking it was against the Broncos or the Browns for whatever reason. I don't know.
Remember.
Chat, let us know.
It wasn't the Bills. I know that. Immaculate Reception.
Yeah, you're right. The Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders.
Raiders. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right, hold on one.
1972.
Wow.
Yep. Tomorrow is actually the anniversary, December 23rd, 1972. That's a shame.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it'll be hard for his family too now to have to, because they're going to still move forward, obviously, with the retirement. But yeah, that's very hard.
Yeah, and I don't know if he was sick or what what happened. I haven't read anything about what the cause of death or anything was, but I think it caught a lot of people by surprise because the fact that they were honoring him this weekend, and yeah, it was kind of out of the blue.
They said it was in his 72, I think.
Yeah,
but when he did that, they talked about it on the pregame tonight. When he did that, he was a rookie, and that's the thing that kind of jump started their dominance. That was kind of the spark that they weren't the team that they would become.
Yeah, they were a force to be reckoned with for a few years, man.
Oh, in the 70s, yeah.
Yeah, the Cowboys and the Steelers owned the 70s.
Yeah.
Well, I know the Dolphins.
Bradshaw was.
Yeah, the Dolphins had a little bit at the beginning, but my goodness, Steelers and Cowboys. Yeah. But yeah, it's sad.
Yep. Yeah. Unfortunate to happen, right before they were going to honor him. And, this time of year, Christmas time, that, just never a good time, but,
So have you guys talked about any ideas for next season? Because I know we floated a few things around in the chat.
Yeah, we were talking about it, expanding the playoff teams, changing, some of the, we were talking about maybe migrating from ESPN to Yahoo.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I think that's, once the season, after this week, I think we can kind of settle in. I think we might have a team that maybe not coming back next year, team that wasn't very active. And so we'll, I think we want to kind of work that out. Maybe, keeper league we talked about. Redrafting and then, have keepers going forward. So, I think we're going to have a lot to discuss and figure out, but which is good because it's, like I said, everybody's excited about the league. So, there's a lot of interest. So, which is good.
Probably keep the decimal system too.
Yes.
That's one thing I was going to touch on. I think was something we need to.
The one thing I was going to touch on is, now, I'm in a bunch of leagues, and 80% of the leagues I'm in, we actually start defensive players. Now, how interested would you three be in the idea of drafting complete rosters with a defensive team and defensive players?
Like Batman, I would need time to prepare.
Right.
Honestly, I would do it. I feel like it'd almost be too much for me, overwhelming, because I don't have the bandwidth with my family there were even weeks with here where I'm still like, man, I forget to set my lineup. So man, if I'm scrambling to get double the amount of people to make sure they're in, that'd be tough. I mean, again, if everyone wanted to do it, I'd do it, but
yeah, I can tell. I've never played in a league with individual defensive players. It's always been team defense. So I think you'd
So
have to
much fun.
really research.
So much fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, but the amount of prep work I think that you need to do then to be able to draft, all of the defensive players. I think that's yeah.
Yeah. Where does it fall? I mean, obviously you have more rounds.
Right. So the leagues I'm in generally have one flex position, and that's usually either a superstar linebacker or a very good safety corner. So you would have two starting positions for your secondary, two linebackers, and two linemen. So obviously, the corner linemen are the ones that get gobbled up early because those are the ones that generally don't put that much points on the board. They're the ones that do kind of get quarterback hurry points. Linebackers are the ones that get a lot of points for sacks or stops and quarterback sacks and hurries and tips and that kind of thing. So you generally try and go with a middle linebacker there or get a pair of good middle linebackers. And then you have your safety and corners, and those are the ones where you're just literally going down the list because every team has one really good one, and then you have that cream of the crop. So corners and safeties, those are the ones where you're trying to generally just get high end tackles and corners that are usually good for minimum 4 picks a year. And then when you draft a superstar defensive player, that's usually the one you keep in the flex. But you generally have to have like 3 or 4 on a bench because again, like buys bite you when it comes to that kind of thing too.
And what's the scoring?
One full draft, and so wherever. So when do you start drafting defensive players in a draft?
Personally, so the leagues that I'm in that have defensive starters, say, I usually finish all my offensive players minus my kicker and my defensive team. Then I'll go and try and get 1 or 2 like all pro defensive players. Then I may go grab a kicker. Then I'll grab a couple more like pro bowlers. And then I'll try and grab my solid defensive team, like a top 5 defensive team. So like this year would probably be like Dallas or the Bills or someone that's, that generally keeps, teams under 20 points, something like that. And then I'll try and get generally I save the corners or safeties for last just because there's so many good ones out there. Like every team has 2 or 3 on the field at all times when their defenders are lining up. And I know it sounds a little intimidating and maybe foreign, but it only takes a week or 2. And it's just like your offensive guys, you're paying way more attention to games than you ever thought you would. Like you're going to flick it to the red zone channel. You're like, okay, who did I start? Oh, did I start friggin' Tre'Davious White? Okay, let's see if the Bills are going to be able to pull out this stop, and go for picks, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's fun, but it's definitely not for the novice.
Right.
I'll put it to you that way.
Like I'd be intrigued with that. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like where there's a video going around where like fantasy football is flawed because none of like you guys don't care about my team ever. Right? Like you guys don't care about like and so if I'm like, oh, check out my team, like nobody cares. Or even if you're talking to another buddy in a league, they don't care. But like if you had like say like Chris and I were co-owners of a team and Brian and Brad were co-owners, or you had co-owners of 3 people, and then you all got together to draft your team together, and you guys then obviously you'd have to have someone like making the main calls, but then you kind of have your crew where you're like, hey, we're going as a group of 3, so you have to have a pretty big league of guys that are all involved. But I also liked it because I'm like, that also could keep it if someone's like slacking a little bit, that you have another. But then I could be sitting there with like Chris for an entire week going, holy cow, like who should we like do you like and we're watching the games together and chatting together all Sunday going, holy cow, did you see that? Where like you guys don't care if if I have someone like T. Higgins going off or whatever, but if I'm like, oh my gosh, or Mixon has a day like he did, unless you have them, you don't care. So I've
But
always
that's an interesting
fun to
point,
do.
Bearded. Because what if we wanted to expand the league, right? What if we brought in co-owners for each team, right? Instead of having a separate league, we
Right.
could add up to 14 more players, and everybody had a partner. I don't know how everybody would feel about that, but it would probably prevent, if somebody's busy on a given week, not setting a lineup. That could be interesting.
I think you'd have to do it where to make it work, it'd have to be like you had to pick who you wanted to be on your team. Like it couldn't just be a draw of like,
oh yeah.
Like you had to say like I want
to bring in the co-owner that
because you're gonna have different personalities mesh and different so you're gonna want to have it to make it work where you'd be like, all right.
I think the problem would be Cole because I don't know if anybody would want to partner with Cole.
Listen, I partner with Cole, and I don't know if I want to partner with Cole. I mean, I guess you get it with Rob. It's the same.
They get heavy, man. They get heavy. No, but the other league that I'm in that I was really skeptical on, but turns out afterwards I've done it now for 3 or 4 years. It's so much fun. Is a suicide league. And I don't mean you pick one team and if they lose, you're out. You draft a full team, and the team that puts up the minimal amount of points per week is out of the league, and their team now becomes waiver wire fodder. And then it's up to you individually based on where you are. If you want to try and take a player from someone else's team and insert them into a position you feel weak in, or not. And let me tell you, it gets pretty rough really quick because the last man standing, it's not like playoffs. It's literally you're going through the schedule and the guy you're up for that you thought that like you're going to play this week. So like, for instance, if I thought this weekend coming, I was going to play Bearded, but I lost. Well, Bearded now is going to play the next guy who's like right under me, depending on seeding. And it just keeps going that way until there's one team standing. But it's just a question then, do you want to participate in the waivers? And there is a cap on the amount of waiver picks you can do. And it's a hell of a lot of fun. But if you go at week 1, it sure does suck pissing away $50.
Yeah, that'd be tough for me.
Yeah, definitely.
That'd be tough to commit to something to know that I could be out the first week.
Yeah, it's
just a bad week.
It's rough.
Didn't somebody post in our IG chat? I think it was it John Hamm who said was in a league, right? And he got if you win the league, you then can pick a team that you can kick out.
You pick one guy to boot from the league.
And then I posted in the group chat the one where it's there's a league that has if your field goal kicker misses an extra point, you lose 50 points.
Oh, yeah. I would just bench my kicker.
That's savage. I would never start a kicker.
Right?
Never.
Well, that was funny because one of the guys I saw that was doing it, he had like a 30-point lead on a guy. He had the kicker who had never missed an extra point. And he's like, and everyone's like, you got to roll with it. Just roll with it. And he rolled with it. And sure enough, he missed the extra point, lost.
There's this, the other league I'm in is with 2 of my nephews and some of their friends. And we did the draft. We did it. We went to a sports bar and did the draft. And some guys I work with were also there doing a draft. There you go. Yeah, there you go. This story is kind of along that same vein. So a couple of guys that I work with were having a draft at the same place in another room, and they do auction style. So everybody brings $200 and you basically bid on plays. So the guy who, I don't know, they probably spent at least $50 on Jonathan Taylor this year, which was would have been brutal. But their last place, they have a punishment. Last place, you have to spend 12 hours in a Waffle House.
Oh, geez.
And for every waffle you eat, you get to take 1 hour off the 12 hours.
Well, 12 waffles, that's not that bad.
Do they have big waffles there? They're not in Canada, so
yeah, they do have big waffles.
I've seen that boat where it was 24 hours and then it's 1 waffle off, and it's
so there was I'm not sure if it's a 30 for 30 or just an ESPN doc or whatever, but there's There's one about the history of fantasy sports. Obviously, it starts off with rotisserie baseball and everything. That's the foundation of fantasy sports. But when it got to football and talking about that is, well, there's a group of 16 guys that are dedicated and they sign legal contracts to the league. And the person that finishes dead last has to get a tattoo. And the champion of the league picks what tattoo it is. And the year that they filmed this league, that particular year, the dude that lost had to get a tattoo. Now, it wasn't very big, probably probably the size of your mouse or something, still big enough, of Justin Bieber on a unicorn. And it says last place in the name of whatever football league. And I'm like, that's too much.
Yeah, you gotta. I mean, to do those last place punishments, I think you almost have to be an established league or a really tight knit group for a while because you're always gonna have the a couple people that are like, I might do it, I might join the league, and it's just and life happens and stuff, and so to put those type of stakes out there, like, man, because I honestly like. With where my life was in September and August, like I auto drafted in both my leagues. I'm like, I don't even think I'm going to do fantasy football, but I probably would have just dropped out if it was like, yeah, you got to get a tattoo. I'm like, ooh, listen here, gang. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and for me, I have 0 tattoos, so I'm not sure I want my first to be what someone else chooses for me either. So.
Listen, you're all getting super pro tattoos.
Yeah.
I might rock that, man.
You're all getting the Comic Vet logo right on your right hip.
Yeah, just don't make me get a tramp stamp or something.
Yeah.
You're all getting Cole's stash as tattooed, and that's the tramp stamp is the stash.
Yeah, that would certainly raise the stakes of the league a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not getting a tattoo. So if you guys decide that,
no. I like what we're doing.
Seth, I don't have a palm tree or a crescent moon. Neither. I don't have any. No tattoo. My philosophy was don't get a tattoo of something you can get a T-shirt of. So I'm looking for. It would have to be something.
That's a good point.
If I can just get a T-shirt, then I don't need the tattoo. So I'm not putting my favorite team on my body or anything because I could just get a T-shirt of that. So
that's a good point.
That's been my thing.
Well, Chris doesn't sell merch, so you can get a tattoo then of Chris's logo on your.
No, I don't sell. I give stuff away, but that's
so you can't get that. You can get a shirt, so you got to get a tattoo of that then.
Can I just?
All I have to do is finish last if I win.
That would be funny though if you had to get the logo, the logo
you have to get the last place person has to get the logo of the YouTube person's whoever won the league.
I like that. Yeah.
Somebody's just gonna have like 8 different like LCS Brian logos on it.
There was a league I was trying to get into, but there was just no openings, and it was a keeper league, and they have a world title belt, and every year like there's a new engraving on the belt. Looks just like Hulk Hogan's belt from the 80s with the WWF, except it has the name of their, instead of World Wrestling Federation at the time, it has the name of their league that they're in. And I thought that was so cool. And then whoever, like, obviously they all put their money in towards it at the beginning for the first year. So there was no pot. It was just the money to buy the belt. And then the champ got the belt for the year. And then when it came draft time, had to give the belt back to the commissioner. So the belt was actually vacant during the season. And then the name got engraved or whatever. And then they had to get together afterwards. And then the champ got the belt.
To the winner next year. So the winner next year holds it for the year. And
yeah, that's pretty cool.
I really like that. Yeah.
I was in a league. I ran a league when we had a big trophy and it had a big plaque, like a wood base. And then we'd get whoever won would get engraved that year, and they would keep the trophy for the year, and then same thing, get it back.
I feel like we need to do some. I know we're doing like a winner gets a slab or whatever. I feel like we need to do like a comic book themed traveling award. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's like, you know, it's a first appearance to Super Pro that's signed by everyone, and then it just gets passed around each league, or there's some. I feel like we need something comic book related.
That's a good idea, because like we could slab books on our own now, so we could like friggin' make it a 10.
Right.
You know what I mean? As opposed to a 9.8.
Right.
Yeah.
And then if you did, like, again, I'm going on the Super Pro because it's a NFL, but if you did like a Super Pro number 1, it gets signed by whoever wins, and then like you make the label each year underneath it who won the year before. Man, that would be
yeah.
That'd be dope.
Was there a Super Pro blank sketch cover?
No.
No. You have him sign it in silver or something. What color is that's the one
it's
with
black? It's all black, and it's like he's in space, kind of almost like punching through it, like. But yeah, so a silver would look sweet, and just, man, that'd be fun.
Yeah. No, we'll have to think of that's a great idea.
Trev.
Well, he'd have to win first, though, Trev. I mean, in order to sign it. So
Cole had a good year.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
He did.
Yeah.
He came on like the Lions did.
Yeah.
He did. He came back at the end.
That dude rode with Carr the entire time, just knowing he wasn't going to get but 10 points with the quarterback. But he did it.
Yeah,
but the big breakout for him was Eckler, though, man. Eckler had a great year this year.
Yeah, he's had a good year. And that's, again, the Chargers overall have not had a great season, but Eckler's been great. Same thing with Jacobs, right, on Vegas. They have not really had a great year, but he's put up great numbers.
Yes. Yeah.
San Diego's they've had a lot of injuries at the wide receiver position, so
maybe we could get a Super Pro cutout, like a life-size cutout.
If we do, I'll have to get one because I don't want to share it with anyone. I want a life-size.
You want your own?
Mm-hmm. Heck yeah.
We could probably 3D print the top, like 3D print the figure and get we've got a trophy. I'm sure everybody's got one. We got a trophy down that could probably.
We're embracing the Super Pro. Just embrace it here, okay?
Just because you're on the panel. Right. But
listen, what if we get a Super Pro helmet, a replica of the helmet, and the helmet then gets signed or engraved by whoever wins each year, and the trophy is the Super Pro helmet. That'd be sweet. I'm looking at the helmet because you got the red and white.
I thought you were about to pull out a helmet.
I have it here.
I've always wanted to get a custom made Super Pro helmet, and
it'll look good with all my other helmets right there. Whoa. I gotta be honest.
Are those all signed?
Those are all the Bills ones I have signed. On the other one, on the other wall, it's all different NFL and NCAA teams. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yep. You have any Ohio State on that NCAA?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Who
sir.
Who do you got signed?
Thanks, Seth. Enjoyed it, man.
So, my Heisman is signed by that quarterback, the one their Heisman, Troy Smith, and he's on my Heisman helmet as well. And below that, I've got who's the Michigan Wolverine that's now with the Steelers? That's their middle linebacker.
Oh yeah,
Devin. I can't make it out from here. I'm blanking, and I don't know why.
We want a room tour.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I got Montana, Adrian Peterson, Peyton Manning. Like, I travel all over the United States for autographing, man. It's my passion away from comic books is getting full size football helmets signed. That's
been the toughest thing for me, of like trying to figure out, like, my house before my wife, it was all sports memorabilia and then I got back in the comics, and now it's all comics, and I'm like, it just is a weird mesh to be like, for me, like sports and comics. And so like I've got a whole bunch like Archie Griffin and Eddie George signed jerseys. I'm like, I don't know where I hang these. And yeah.
I think we're proving that it's a mesh that works. So you can absolutely mix the comics with the.
I know. I'm just trying to figure out where I would, because I definitely have tried to design my layout too to be like not like cluttered, but I want to have a lot of stuff. So
that's probably the biggest surprise from what we were talking about earlier before you guys came on. Just how it's really been very seamless for us to do this. You know, like everybody and that we all have comics in common. Who knew that we could, talk for an hour and a half about fantasy football and have people in the chat asking our opinions about, hey, I've got, player X and Y, and who do you recommend I start and that kind of thing. So that's really been neat to see this year. Just have those kind of questions in the chat.
So have we made our guesses on who's winning this weekend for our big Super Bowl?
Trev's the favorite. I mean, for sure.
I don't even know.
Tylox is the underdog.
Yeah,
especially with his quarterbacks out.
Is his quarterback Jalen Hurts?
Yes. Yeah, so he's starting Minshew in his place. So
that's tough.
Yeah, so I think
this was difficult because I was like, I don't know if I even. Well, I was joking with you. I was playing you, Brad, the last round. I'm like, I hope you beat me because you had a guy who I had in my other no, it was Brian. It was Brian.
Yeah.
You had a guy
it was,
who I had on my league that had money and I was in the playoffs. I'm like, man, I hope you beat me because that means it's good news for me.
Yeah, beat you in the game that didn't matter for. Yeah, you have to look at it like, yeah. And we were talking earlier about like just playing. I will play to the end. That's just the way I.
Oh yeah, I'm set mine up every.
Oh yeah.
Like I'll be damned. I'm going for most points for at this point now. If I can't win, I want something to hang my hat on.
Percentage and all that stuff. So I think all that.
I think Trev was just dominant from start to finish, and his record reflects it. I like Trev by a touchdown this weekend, and that's no slight against Tylox. Tylox, for a guy that said he had no real history into this, he came out like a bat out of hell and did a terrific job. But I like Trev by a touchdown. I think they're both going to clear 120.
Yeah,
I think Trev. The fact that Hurts is out this week for Tylox, that's tough to overcome because he's been very consistent for him all year. So
yeah,
oof, and he's not off to a great start with tonight either. Tylox isn't, so he's got two guys already playing. Then he's only got 3 points.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's got Kirk and Conklin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got Kirk in a couple of leagues. I usually put him in a flex if I need someone to cover a bye. Christian Kirk has been actually having a good year this year, though.
Tylox is like the band that puts out their best album first, and then they forever live there.
He's a one-hit wonder.
He set the bar so high right now. I mean, it's like he's got to I mean, he mentioned on Instagram, like, yeah, I had a couple of tips from a few guys, and I was like, a couple of tips, dude. I ran your team for the first 4 weeks. I was texting him every day, like, no, dude, start, like, leave him in. Don't ever take him out unless it's the bye week. But no, he did great, man, and he really was like that's what it was all about. It was so much fun just to get people who have never done it. And if anybody wouldn't have panned out, I would have thought it'd been him not having not done fantasy.
Right.
Let's be honest. This is the guy that said defense wins championships. He was going to take a defensive team first, and here he is in the freaking final, and we're all like, "What the hell, man?"
We all gave him grief for it. So sorry, I had to unplug my lights so I could plug in the baby monitor. I'm on duty right now, so
do your thing, man.
Well, no, I can see them. The baby monitor is sitting on the bar, so I can see it fine. But I just had to unplug the light that was making but it's probably better for the viewers anyway. So
yeah, that was maybe we shouldn't have given him so much advice. Actually,
Well, lesson learned. Lesson learned.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Mind your business next year, boys. Mind your business.
Yeah, I'll tell you, y'all sometimes in the chat where if it was against me, I would be like, who? So like half of you guys at one point were telling Cole like a half hour before the game's like, hey Cole, you have like 3 people who aren't starting in your lineup. I'd be like, I would have been so ticked off if I was playing Cole that week. I was like, y'all need to shut it. Like, I like it.
I said that. And you can say it. It's all right. I said that. I thought it was already too late when I said it, but it wasn't.
See, I don't even know who said it, so I don't even.
It was me.
I was like, y'all.
It was just a couple of weeks ago, actually.
Yeah, it was.
It was me, and I thought it was already too late because I noticed it much earlier, but they happened to be playing on a different day, and I didn't realize that. But I was like, yeah, Cole's so confident. He's got some guys that aren't even starting this week. Yeah, we can get a little more chippy as we get used to playing with each other.
A lot of other leagues I've been in have had a bigger entry fee, right? I've been in leagues where it's $200-$300. So when you have, and you could win, I won the league one year and I think I won like $2,000. So, when you have more money on it, then you're a little bit more competitive, I think. We're kind of friendly, $20 entry, not, we're just having fun. But I think, when the stakes are a little higher, that's when things get a little.
I think we're just kind of feeling each other out too, because
that's the other thing.
That's the big one.
Everybody as well. So, so that was part of it for me is like, as we, year 4 is going to look a lot different in that chat than year 1 does.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, it is. It's trying to figure out like what relationship you have with the other people in the chat, right? Like, I could say something to Cole and know that because of my relationship with Cole, like there's no ill. Like I blasted Cole about him, like, talking trash about him always being in the playoffs, and then I'm like, did Cole lose? Because like he told us for like 5 straight weeks, like he was in the playoffs. So I was like, shocker. Like, but I can do that with him because I know our relationship. We're like, there's some where I'm like, I don't like. Are they gonna like? They're like, oh man, that bearded's a jerk.
You son of a bitch! How dare you?
I hate it.
I just add like a little emoji
like,
and walk away.
Relationship with people, you can be just like, nah, screw it. Like I don't like that person. He's always talking trash, and you're like, no, I'm just like having fun.
We'll get to that point. That'll be it's not only the chat, but it's also doing this. I mean, I thought this was kind of a cool idea to each week. I mean, I didn't know if anybody would show up. It was more kind of like an idea for us to hang out and talk about each week, but it's been neat to see like people that don't follow me on YouTube asking questions about fantasy stuff.
No, that was a surprise. I never expected that. I thought it was more going to be, us just kind of hanging out, talking about the league, but not fielding questions for other people.
And does everybody follow you that asked those questions? I was just curious if somebody just fantasy football on YouTube and happened to see.
I think we had a few people that just kind of saw that this was live fantasy football, and they jumped in because there were some names that I think asked questions that I didn't recognize. So
that's really cool. Yeah, that's neat.
It's funny. Brad talked about year 4. It'd be different if we all had to put up a 9.8, and the winner got to take 3 or 4 slabs from everyone that showed a book. Like everyone shows one book. That's valued, say, at $150 kind of thing. And, you know what? I'm going to take Brad's, and I'm going to take Tylox, and I want Trev's. Okay, second place. Now you get 2 slabs from the leftovers. I'm going to take him and him. And, but it's.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things we could do with it to tie in, the comic book aspect of it. So, yeah, we have to kick some of those ideas around because I think that could be fun. That would really amp it up a little bit.
Also, has this already been discussed? But Brian, are you wearing a Chargers shirt underneath a Giants jacket?
No, it's the high school. My high school.
Oh,
Okay, I didn't see the. I was sitting there. I'm like,
leaving it alone. But yeah,
Well,
I'm glad you
as a
said
Giant fan, I kind of need to be a Chargers fan, right? They gave us Eli, so
I was kind of sitting. I'm like, wait a second, like where you're sitting, it literally just looks like Chargers. I was like,
it's the local Thunderbirds, our local high school team.
Good, because I was going to give you grief if you're like, oh, the Giants are struggling, so now I'm slowly gonna start putting on Charger gear. So
no, I'm Giants all the way.
He's
Never
still hopeful for the playoffs. They got a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, right now, they have Eagles the final game of the season. I don't know if the Eagles are going to be playing a lot of people that week, so they might be able to squeak out a win. And they've got the Colts. They got Minnesota this week. Then they have the Colts and then Eagles. So Eagles' last game of the week, last game of the year is interesting now because the Eagles could have everything wrapped up by then and may not. If Hurts has been hurt, he may not play. So we'll see.
Yeah. Because Brett, you're a Dolphins fan, right?
Yeah.
So all our teams are still possibly in the playoff hunt. So I know your Bills are locked, and Bengals
Bills are in, right? They clinched last week. I think
they clinched last week. Bengals can clinch tonight. I think if the Jets lose, I mean they should be in no matter what. But it'd be a shocker. But
which it's happening right now. So yeah, that's.
I think the Jets lose, the Bengals are a lock. But I mean.
Major turnaround, dude. I mean, they were flat as hell the entire year, and they've really.
It's like them and the Lions, man. Like the Lions are 500 now.
Yeah.
Like my goodness, weren't they like 2-7 or something, or 1-7?
They were 1-6, I think, going in,
right.
And the Bengals, they Burrow didn't play all preseason because he had the appendix surgery. You have there's one player who started last year on our offensive line. I think we all just assumed, and I say we as like Bengals fans, like assumed like it would just be like, oh, cool, we got a better line, plug and play. Joe's just gonna hop back in, and I think we all got nervous real quick of like, oh shoot, like it's not plugging, but they figured it out. So.
Me and Cole are playing in the Friendship Bowl this week.
I tried to get Cole on.
Third loser spot. Like, hey, we're talking trash about you. Who's the third loser in this whole thing? But we're going to sip bourbon and play a football game like gentlemen and see who comes out on top.
Exactly.
A friendly duel.
Well, and Chris, we're going to friendly duel in a week? With our real life team, so
friendly.
You'll do us a favor and talk smack in the chat, so we can vicariously live through both of you.
Listen, man, that's gonna be a fun game, and I think that should just be it's Monday Night Football. Bills going to Cincy. And man, I mean, it's just going to be a good setup for what we're going to see in the AFC playoffs. Like those are going to, even the NFC is going to, man.
Well, that's just
playoffs are good this year.
The Bills have a real hard schedule to finish a year, and then like they're battling for first and battling for the bye of the AFC East, whereas the Chiefs have like a gimme. But man, they almost blew it last week.
The Bengals and the Bills both had really hard schedules on the home stretch. I mean, we played Chiefs 3 weeks ago, and then we got the Bills, we got the Ravens, still, and it was Patriots.
Well, could all four teams out of the NFC East make the playoffs too? I mean,
they should. They should probably just cut out the NFC South and just take all four teams.
Every time I see the standings and I see Tampa Bay at 6-5 and they're still in the playoff spot, I'm like, oh.
Tom Brady being Tom Brady, man. So he'll have a terrible record and he'll still make the freaking playoffs. Take it from a Bills fan, man. Tom Brady being Tom Brady.
The baby's down, guys. Cole is here in full force now. The baby's asleep, so he's here. That's interesting. What if Trev and Tylox tie? What's the tiebreaker?
Well, I thought I read
head
head to head and then head to head or points for.
That would be interesting. I mean, Tylox already has 2. I would have thought 2 would be ridiculous, but he's got 2.
I'm still pissed about the time Chris and I were playing. We were going into a tie, and I'm over here complaining about a tie, and then they do this stupid lateral stuff, and the guy I had was the one that fumbled the lateral, and then Chris wins. I was like, dang it, I guess I should have been happy with the tie.
Be careful what you wish for.
I know, right? I was like, dang it.
Record then total points. All right.
Yeah, it's total. Well, playoff tiebreaker is total points 4.
Right.
Yep.
Cole, it's a lot easier to talk about this if you just hop on.
Yeah.
The baby's asleep, man. Get your butt on here now. Grab a bourbon.
Yeah. Cole, you can come take my spot, guys. I'm gonna have to bounce. I got to get up at 4:00 in the morning. But anyways, this is a lot of fun. Brian, thanks for hosting it this week.
Sure.
And
no good luck this week.
Yeah, if we're gonna do a recap or we're gonna do this one more time, let me know. And that should be a big blast. We'll honor our champ. But guys, good luck this weekend. And if I don't see you, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we'll leave it at that.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Thanks,
Good night.
Same to you.
See ya.
Cole, we'll let you whisper if you have to hop on. Make sure you don't.
Yeah, I mean, Beard has got the baby monitor going. I mean,
right?
I know it can be done for sure.
Now my babies are 2 floors above me, so hopefully they're okay. But yeah, I got my eyes on the kids. So the missus is out finishing up some Christmas shopping.
Where are you located?
Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
Yep. So,
how's the weather up there?
We're supposed to get stuff. I don't know. I don't believe the reports, because I feel like every time the weathermen hype up, oh my goodness, it's gonna be the worst. Stores are packed, and I'm just I don't know. We're supposed to get. It's supposed to be really cold, -6 tomorrow or tonight. Tomorrow, we're supposed to get rain, so that should be snow and freezing here at 2 a.m. I think, and then it's supposed to be bad all day Friday, and then it should be fine. So I don't know. I'm banking that I got the electric that stays on, so the sub pump goes, so the basement's good. So that's all I care about.
You're not you're home for Christmas? You're not traveling or anything?
No, no, we're staying home this time. Yeah. So all the family has been. My mom's over in London visiting my brother and stuff. So,
oh wow, okay.
All our families just we're all spread out this year for Christmas. So I'm okay with that because it's just all right, let's low key Christmas. It'll be okay.
Yeah, sometimes that's the best. Just home and
yeah, because my mom was over for Thanksgiving and my sister was in for Thanksgiving. So we had people over then, but now it's Christmas. And we're just all right, well, this works out well. So.
I mean, I wouldn't have been mad if I got to hang out with Brian LCS this December, but what are you saying?
Where are you at, Brad?
I'm in South Carolina.
Okay. What part, if you don't mind?
Columbia.
Okay. I was my grandparents live in Anderson, so I was just in Anderson.
Oh, cool. Well, Tylox is up that way.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Hit us up if you come back down, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make the drive. We'll hang out.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're a good time, aren't we, Brian?
Hey, I got to hang out with Brian at Terrificon in Connecticut this summer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I'm in a garage in my mother-in-law's house. And
you look like you've been drinking something.
Yeah, I'm really drunk. You guys want to see what it looks like in winter in Michigan right now?
Yes, I do.
Yes, we do.
My work canceled work.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, you can't even see it.
Wow.
Nice.
But yeah, there's probably
We wouldn't have
ranchers out here.
You gonna shovel that driveway or what?
No, my mother-in-law pays for plow service.
God, man, just move down to the south. You can sell your snow shovel. You can get rid of all that stuff.
Yeah, but when you guys get snow, your whole city shuts down.
Yeah, but that's good.
Yeah,
It doesn't take much. Yeah, you just get to stay home and you get paid for it, man. I mean, what's the negative there?
I wish I had a cigar like you have.
You should. Yeah, I've got, and I'm doing a little since it's getting a little chilly out. I thought I'd do the High West campfire.
Dude, so my brother-in-law loves scotch. That's what I like to do for that because it's the rye, the scotch, and the bourbon.
The blend, yeah, right.
I had some Elijah Craig. He has some Eastern Kiln, which is Grand Rapids whiskey. It's kind of trash, but it's a micro whiskey, so that's cool.
So Cole, you're bourbon and cigars?
I mean, I smoke cigars, but only because I can't smoke cigarettes anymore.
Well, we definitely need to meet up at some point then.
Well, tag nabbit, I'm in. I'm all about the bourbon.
I saw you. Yeah, what were you drinking earlier?
What do I just got some Woodford right now. My bar is a little depleted at this stage. The holidays have depleted my bar, so
yeah, I came over and drank all this whiskey.
I was gonna say, is Cole over?
Yeah. No, it's just cold as it gets colder, so I don't like to go out to drink, so I just stay home. The wife was like, we might have to start looking because we were like budgeting for comics earlier in the year. She's like, we might have to start budgeting for your bourbon. Like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, just stock up.
Yeah.
That was one of my, before I got into comics, I was into, I've always been into cigars and bourbon. And somebody asked me the other day, I know I've got over 100 bottles of bourbon. I'm sure I do.
I have a lot, and I think I have 40.
I've got a coat closet full of whiskey.
But how many are unopened?
Most of them.
Because I only have one that's unopened. No,
Marty at Brad's.
3.
Yeah, most of mine are unopened.
What is the corn whiskey?
Like just straight corn, mellow corn? I mean,
yeah, I have an unopened mellow corn.
That's a bonded 100 proof.
Yeah.
Corn
everyone
whiskey.
Was like, "This is what you need to buy," and I bought it because it was like there was a place where it was $10.
It's bright yellow.
That yeah, it looks like Windex.
They say it tastes like buttered popcorn.
Yeah, that I have an unopened thing of that. I have an unopened Buffalo Trace, the white stuff.
Oh, is that that's the
white mash or something?
God, what is that? That's I think it was special. Isn't that special?
It's there. No, it's just they're like unproofed, or I don't know. It's something. It's
White Dog.
Yeah, White Dog.
Yeah, it's like the moonshine before they put it in a barrel.
And then I have like one barrel proof Elijah Craig that I just haven't opened yet.
Okay, yeah, because we talked about the we're getting way off the fantasy. Is this okay, Brian? Is this a backstage conversation, or are we okay now? I think we've lost all of our fantasy people.
Well, we can wrap it up.
I'm a high proof person.
Yeah, because we were talking about Elijah Craig versus the Larceny barrel proof, and but I've got they just came out with the Elijah Craig barrel proof this year, and there's a certain barcode that's supposed to be the best.
Well, they have 3 different barrel proofs. A, B, and C.
Right.
I think I like C the best.
And they said I think the critique for that was that A was the best. I know, Boyd. I'm sorry, man.
We did.
I forget how they are.
It all ties in. You got comics. You got fantasy
You get
football,
everything here: cigars, bourbon, comics, fantasy football, NFL.
We are a full service show.
Also, the greatest thing is that, Brad, everyone on the stream has been on my show for most anticipated comics except for you. So maybe you can do it for the first of the year.
Ooh.
Did they invite themselves, or were they invited to do it?
Well, yeah, I just want somebody to invite themselves. Just say, hey, I'd like to be on that. And you can be that. And that's the winner of the
Trust me, I did not invite myself.
Yeah, I had
I
to
didn't
force
either.
Bearded. I paid Bearded $170. Brian got shafted. I only gave him like my toenail clippings because he was like, hey, I need to recycle these for work.
It's true.
Still waiting for them in the mail, by the way.
So if we did,
Well, hey, I blame Tylox because he kind of eats all of my mail, apparently. And also beats me in fantasy twice in a row. That's the worst.
So if we do it, can we have a bourbon while we're doing it?
Yes.
Sure.
So here's what. So we talked about this, Cole, and this is something I seriously want to do. And Bearded, if you want to jump in, we'll just do like a whole thing. I think it would be cool. They make these 2-ounce glass bottles.
I'm already in.
So what if we take? We're going to do a live stream, and we're going to sample a 2-ounce of the same thing each month or week or every 2 weeks or whatever we do. And we're going to send it to each other. And we're going to, so I've got a bottle. I'm going to.
The only thing that's hard is I'm in Michigan, and sending liquid out of Michigan is weirder than most other states, but I can figure it out.
I mean, you got it. You can figure it out.
It's olive oil.
We'll make
Don't send it media mail.
But yeah. So I'm into that. But the only thing is everyone has to be okay with it, because if they're not, then it gets weird. Also, if we do that, I think we need to change it. I like the idea of the Thursday night, but I think we need a late night Wednesday stream. Because, like, I know me and Bearded have always been like, we have young kids. There's no way 7:30 works.
Yeah.
Are you talking about for fantasy or for this?
We should do a 9 o'clock Wednesday stream.
He's talking about a completely different stream, Cole. He's talking about. Let's just talk about bourbon.
Bourbon.
Yeah, I thought this was fantasy also included.
No,
I thought we were.
This is just this is a whole.
This is a separate stream.
Okay, yeah, as long as it's after 8.
Yeah, we could do. I could do it later, and then we would just review like, hey, this week we're talking about this, and it's What
we should do then is easily purchase whiskey. Either we're doing craft whiskeys or easy stuff that you can get that people can't get. Because I think like Greg can get Weller.
I can get you guys as much Weller as you want.
Yeah, and I can't. Like,
Weller 12
dude, listen to this. There's a liquor store.
Can you get Weller 12?
Weller Green Label.
You can get
a
Weller
fifth
12
of it for $170 is what they're asking for.
I've got a bunch of bottles of the special reserve, the Green Label, but I don't have a lot of the 12.
But the really Green Label is a $20 bottle, right?
The Antique's my favorite, 107 proof.
Yeah, no. It's funny. I was at we completely derailed the stream. Sorry, Brian, but
that's all right.
I was at a liquor store.
Shut the door when you leave.
This lady, I was standing in line. I think I had a bottle of Blade and Bow or something, and this lady was like, I don't know, bourbon. She's like, I'm looking for this. She's like, I'm looking for a Weller. And so I kind of got out of line to like help her. Well, someone else like came up in line and was buying bourbon and stuff. So like I had to wait longer. She's like, oh, it was behind the counter. She's like, well, I can just get you a bottle of Weller if you want then, since you helped me out. I was like, okay. I was like, that worked out really well. So I mean, it was
it pays
$20 bottle of Weller, but I'll take it.
But still, you could sell that in Michigan. I mean, you could reasonably sell that for $50 here.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Like,
wow.
I think me, you, and Stevie need to have a meet in the middle for Columbus Con.
We just had freaking GalaxyCon and none of y'all came.
Well, dude, I've got a 1-year-old. It's hard.
Sorry, just like it was actually legit. We had a lot of good. Rodney Barnes, Philadelphia was here. And
You see that on my last CBCS order, I sent in an issue that he sent me. He sent it to me, an issue that he signed from his reserve.
You got like a 9.6 on it, right?
It's a weird ass story. I posted on Twitter that I wanted to buy the A cover of Philadelphia #4. I didn't tag anyone. I didn't use any hashtag. Anyone have weird eBay stuff? I bought issue 4 of Philadelphia. I ordered the A cover and I got the B cover. Rodney Barnes DM me. Hey, I can send you the A cover. Okay, here's my address. He sent me a signed copy that said, "Thank you for your support of #1 and the A cover and the B cover of issue 4. I don't know why. I already had that one, but thank you. And I sent that into CBCS and I got a 9.6. I honestly thought I was going to get a 7.
Nice.
I don't know why. I just feel like grading is such a weird thing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But we all agree the Lions are the best team in football right now, right?
They're playing well. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. The only thing that I don't like is that current coaching is pretty into Dan Campbell, and I don't know why, but Allen likes him. Jared Goff. Allen likes him. I don't get it. He's fine.
He's put up good numbers this year.
He's put up good fantasy numbers.
You wouldn't switch it. You wouldn't switch back. You wouldn't undo that trade.
No, but like that's the thing. If you're riding this like Matt Stafford is a better quarterback than Jared Goff, and it's loosely been proven by them winning a Super Bowl. But I mean, it's like Jared Goff is fine, but the fact that you're saying we don't want to invest in the future in quarterbacks, that's pretty awful because.
Yeah, but I also think they're saying Jared Goff's fine, but they're going to pick the right person to draft into. I mean,
well, but that's the thing. You should get like a 3rd rounder with high ceiling, and if he doesn't work in 2 years, you can still keep Jared Goff for those 2 years. Who's
their current backup?
I don't know. It was a dude that was on Hard Knocks. They got rid of him. And then it was a dude that was like the backup from Minnesota.
I'm looking at it now. Nate Studfield.
Just a dude that's like backup quarterback.
That's about as much of a dude as you can be. Like, who is it? Not a single one on this panel knows who Nate Studfield is.
Like, I mean, I'm still really upset that they didn't get Malik Willis in the 3rd round. That's a very high outfield guy. Like, if you're saying, like, if he doesn't work in the 3rd round draft pick, you're paying that guy minimal money.
Well, let's see if you think that after this weekend.
For Goff?
For like Malik Willis, because he's starting this week.
Oh, well, I mean, Malik Willis has been fine, but I'm just saying, like, Goff is a good quarterback.
Let him throw the ball.
To teach a quarterback high upside.
Right, he's Malik starting.
Trev collects cards, and he's never seen Studfield's rookie.
Yes,
so that tells you exactly what he thinks about. The dude is hardcore into cards, and he's never seen a Studfield.
I think Stafford's. I mean, he says he's coming back next year, but I think he's done. I think.
Dude, the worst is that Stafford's wife fucking hated Michigan, but she made a weird joke that they're coming back to Michigan, and that would be crazy.
Do most people like Michigan?
Huh?
Do most people like Michigan? I'm confused. Like, why is that a shock?
It's a beautiful place.
So Nate,
Greg's over there.
Greg's trying to make a weird. Like, I'm not even, dude. You shouldn't even talk shit about Michigan to me because I'm like the only person that stands up for Ohio. I loosely only say that it's just
Why would you
slightly
stand up
better
for
than
Ohio
Indiana.
being from Michigan? Aren't y'all arch rival states? Just in general.
Well, I mean, if
Just in
you like
college,
certain
but
teams.
Cole likes the team that we don't hate as much in Michigan, so it's okay.
Oh yeah, the one that y'all beat year in and year out.
No. Michigan State beats Ohio State more than Michigan beats Ohio State usually.
Really?
In the last 10 years.
You guys won the one to go to the Big Ten, what, in 2015?
15. I was at that game. That was tight.
But and then you guys beat us with Plaxico Burress in the late 90s. And then another time, like I feel like we've probably lost to Michigan State 3 times in the last 20 years.
Oh, no. 3 times in the last 10 years. And you've lost to Michigan twice. Granted, they were back-to-backs.
So
maybe 4. I would say 4 in the last 10.
I'm 4 in the last 10. I call BS.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's a brutal.
We're gonna see. I'm gonna Google this while you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Find out who's now an interesting connection with Brian because Brian's in-laws went to Notre Dame and they're playing the University of South Carolina, which is my alma mater.
yes,
Notre Dame is like an hour and 30 minutes from me.
I've been there, been on campus. I've walked the campus.
I went to school in Indiana, so I went to.
And now you've been to South Carolina's campus. I took you on a tour.
That's right.
Last time.
My dad's best friend lives. So wait, Brian, you went to Notre Dame?
No. I have family that's gone there, and my wife and I drove cross country, and we stopped at the campus and walked. Saw the stadium.
Touchdown Jesus?
Oh yeah, we saw touchdown Jesus.
So my dad's best friend lives in South Bend, and he hates Notre Dame. He said they're the worst people.
Wow.
Who does he root for? Who does he root for if he lives in South Bend? And it must be tough to live in South Bend and root.
Probably Michigan. I don't know. He's a weirdo.
Yeah, that would be tough to live there and not root for them. But.
In 2011, you guys beat us, and then you beat us 2 other times since then. So 3 times in 10 years, and then not again for almost 10 years. So I said you didn't beat us 3 times in 20 years. It was in the late 90s. You beat us twice in the late 90s, and then it's been a couple years. So
in the same time period, what's your record against Michigan?
He is right. Michigan
2-8.
Michigan, we've lost to Michigan in that same time period twice.
So Michigan State has beaten Ohio State more than
Michigan has beat Ohio State just because, yeah.
But Michigan State was also a relevant team for a while. I don't know. I feel like the Big Ten has been wonky lately.
Yeah. So, because you guys had the one in 15 where you beat us by 3.
Yeah, the sad pizza incident.
And then you beat us 2 years before that in the Big Ten championship game.
I was at, well, the 2015 was the Big Ten championship,
no,
right?
2013 was the Big Ten championship game. 2015 was you beat us to go to, and then you guys went as representatives in the college football playoff.
Yeah, and got whacked.
Railed. I only know that because I was on my honeymoon, and because we scheduled our honeymoon a couple months after our wedding, and I was like, "This is okay," because I'll be in Mexico and I'm watching Michigan State get just destroyed, and I'm like in this like weird like ice bar lounge.
Well, the best part about that is my buddy sent me a GIF. He's an Ohio State fan. Michigan State was the only team to only score 0 points in a bowl game. And a year later, I sent him that back when Ohio State was the only team to score 0 points in a bowl game in the national championship.
Well, it wasn't the national championship.
Well, the national championship, yeah.
Semifinals.
The race, the finals, yeah. It was the same game.
Yeah.
Boyd, he's Spartans. He's a Michigan Spartan, a Michigan State Spartan.
Spartan.
You guys also have the worst stadium ever.
The Spartans?
Yes.
No, Michigan is the worst stadium.
I'm just saying, it took me, I went to a game in, I think, 2014 or 2012. It took me 2 hours to walk. Your ramps are like this. They go do, 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 do.
Like, were you going, what were you doing?
Going up to the top level, but like your ramps don't ramp up. Like they just go like slightly like 2 inches up.
Well,
you've gotten better tickets for some
engineering school, so that's probably.
I mean, the difference is that's you. That's on you. You didn't make it there quick. Whereas if you're in the big house, they only have 6 areas to enter.
I'm just saying the design.
We have so many different ways that you can go up and down or in or around.
I'm just saying you guys have ramps that go up 2 inches and then you go all the way down and then you go up 2 more inches and then
sorry for getting the bad seats and it takes a while to get over there.
Just saying
those were additional.
God bless.
Should have paid a little bit more.
This is going to be a short.
They're not even that expensive.
Hey Brian, we brought back the football at least.
Yeah, we're talking football now. Yeah,
fantasy college. Anybody? Who's starting this week in fantasy college?
Who can we talk college football with you, Brian? You're in New York, so Rutgers.
I'm not a big
Syracuse.
I mean, I don't really. I kind of adopted
to South Carolina when he moved.
Yeah, well, we have family down in South Carolina, so and a couple nieces and nephews that have gone to. So they're Gamecock fans, but then we also have Notre Dame. My wife's family is Irish, so they've always been fans of Notre Dame. And we have my brother-in-law went to Notre Dame, so Notre Dame's probably the team I follow and watch the most.
You ever watch Wacky Irish or whatever Tyler's channel is?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, his Notre Dame
house should be a really good place to watch that bowl game this year, with kids going to South Carolina and then the
we have to check in with them and see who's rooting for what.
Is Brian wearing a Chargers shirt?
No, it's my high school football. My local high school football.
I said the exact same thing an hour before you got here.
I only showed up because Bearded was pestering me.
I was pestering him. I'm like, get in here. We're talking trash about you. At least come defend yourself.
All I'm saying is that if things go, when does the voting start?
Voting for
CBCA Awards.
It's April, May.
So
next year.
If Bearded can get to 1,000 subscribers by April, there's a good chance that our cover challenge will be in this 1,000 subscribers. What happens if one of us is 1,000 and the other isn't?
I'd have to take that to the committee. We'll have to get a ruling.
I have a feeling I'll be in the 1,000 by April. I would hope.
You need to start doing more shorts, dude. It's just shorts.
I have been. That's what's getting me there. I'm at right now. I'm at 925.
Yeah, if you the shorts really
at 20 in the last 28 days, I've gained 150 subscribers, and that's insane.
That's more than what
I've gotten probably 60 subscribers since I started going back to making content in October, and but it's mostly been shorts, and it's like, really, this is a short that kicked off, and yeah.
Trev has jumped into this thing and just freaking taken off.
Well, have you guys seen the Bada Boom podcast, which is Flo Dameron? Like 3 months ago, he was at 30 subscribers. He had 1,000 subscribers today.
Oh, wow.
From just going hard on shorts.
Shorts, yeah. He said that, yeah.
And him and I have been talking a lot just because he's like the person that shorts, you have to experiment to figure out how they work. I mean, like I'm dropping way more videos than probably most other people because I'm dropping like 4 to 5 shorts a day that are just loosely trash. But hey,
cool. I told you about my father-in-law.
Yeah.
He started his channel September 1st. He's doing nothing but shorts. He is now, and this is even past when you and I have talked. He's at 20,000 subscribers.
Which, when all of my stuff happens backwards, Thank Bearded's step. Wait,
what's he doing shorts on though? What
he
is
literally is
does
just
he have
doing
like
shorts. He's doing shorts of like 10-second shorts of just like things that he records and does it in reverse. Like this is it. This is all he's doing.
Wow, that's funny.
And in 3 months, he's at 20,000 subscribers.
He is also doing a good job of doing like the front of it. He's good enough at editing videos that he's doing something that's not an absolute like horrible product, but it's not something that's good.
But I spend like 4 hours prepping the content for an interview, and he does this, and I'm like, oh, you got 3,000 views.
What you need to do, Bearded, is you need to mark when you ask a good question that there's a 1 minute answer that you can clip and you can make it short.
Oh, is that what I should do?
You're welcome. Also, my phone's
Is that what I
about to
should
die.
do?
I love everyone here.
I'm putting this out here just now so Cole doesn't think he took credit, but let's go to my most recent.
You definitely did that. You did that. I saw it and you did it, but you need multiples of those, and I love you.
Well, that's what I'm going to start to do. Well, I've got 2 interviews tomorrow, so I'm
Brad, this is for you. Let's me hug in the friendship bowl.
I've got
the thing about the shorts is if you do the 15-second or 16 seconds, it's very little investment. You know what I mean? Right. You can churn those things out.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to clip. I got 2 interviews I'm doing tomorrow. And so I'll edit all those and do the full interviews and then clip them and do shorts because that's what's pushes content now.
Yeah. And it's weird. I've been doing an advent calendar all month, and some of the days have had a couple thousand views, and a couple, some of the days have 100 views. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to what like hits and doesn't hit. It's really kind of strange.
Yeah, I have some where I'm like, oh, this is gonna pop off, and I get 15 views, and I'm like, oh, this isn't, and it's like 600 views. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I'm hoping with my 2 interviews tomorrow, like I can clip some stuff, and those then will be good enough to, because of who they are, that people like, oh, let's check it out and make some shorts off of those clips. So
yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I don't know where we lost Cole. I guess maybe he passed out in the garage.
There's a good chance he did. So right, yeah, no, my father-in-law just spills things, and it's funny because he also has a channel where he like does train viewing stuff, like that's just his thing. And so we talk about YouTube all the time, and like when he was doing his train stuff, I'm like, hey, like I'll help you grow your channel, like this will be good. And then he's like, cool. And then like a year later, he's like, hey, I'm doing this channel too. And I'm like, you just surpassed me in 3 months by like quadruple the amount of, like, not even that, like more than quadruple, because I'm like barely getting to 1,000 and he's at 20,000 in 3 months. I'm like,
he lapped you.
Wow. He has lapped me multiple times, just like, no, we're just gonna keep going. So but
it's the content, because there's the biggest, like, circumstances has talked about this before, but the biggest channels in comics is not that big.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is, like, I do a niche content and then my content which is already, comics is already such a niche content that then the stuff I do of like, oh, let's do like a game show and like cooking channel based off comic, like I'm doing niche content inside a niche like it's just like it's like super like, but even that, like I'm doing interviews and like those are my least watched stuff, but I don't care because I'm talking to creators and people. But if I was used to do unboxings and those were my biggest stuff, and I'm just like, I can't keep up with buying unboxings and
yeah mystery boxes.
Yeah, I can't do the mystery box. I was like, I was doing like an unboxing once a week, and I'm like, I'm spending money. I'm like, I wasn't getting joy out of the boxes because I was very rarely getting stuff I really like. So I was like, I can't keep doing this. But it's weird. YouTube's a weird animal, but you know, I like talking to the creators, and I'm branching out a little bit to do some celebrities and things like that. So hopefully that people will still be okay with that since it's not comic book related.
But how do the interviews do over time though? You must get.
They're slow.
Okay.
It depends. Like the bigger name creators, when I have them on, get more views. It'll be interesting. So
good luck, Trev.
Yep. Good luck this week, Trev.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with some. I'm trying to branch out into doing some like celebrity interviews a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see if those translate or not into content of like that people like that, or if like no, just stick to comics. So who knows?
Yeah, it's interesting though. Some of even the bigger comic book creators have been, pretty receptive. I've seen them on, they'll come on and chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not only just independent or,
Right.
Kickstarter, creators that are trying to promote a Kickstarter. I mean, the Comic Bookworms had some pretty big creators on. You just reach out and hopefully they'll.
Yeah, it's you try your best to see what happens. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
I've had some big creators on, and I've got one tomorrow that should be a pretty fun one, and who knows? It's interesting to just see like what people like the interweb, like what pops off and what doesn't, and
right.
so
what don't you do in the middle of the video tomorrow? Throw something on the table and then run it in reverse.
Right. So.
Well, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up. I kind of figured like, we'll probably jump on. We'll do maybe a half hour, 45 minutes. The game's coming on, and now I think that game's at halftime right now.
It's at halftime. Yeah.
Yep.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. You never know, right?
Fun hanging out.
It is.
Yeah. No, we'll have to we'll plan on next week, next Thursday. We can do it. Yeah, maybe I guess we'll keep it on Thursday. But we'll wrap up the season, next week. See who the big winners are.
Yeah, I'm in.
All right, cool.
Yeah, that sounds good.
It sounds like we got a new bourbon show coming up too. Now that's in development as of tonight.
Brad, we're gonna have to remind Cole because I think Cole is.
I don't think Cole remember.
I don't think Cole's gonna remember that conversation.
Yeah. Definitely have to send him a DM on that one.
Ooh.
So that's what Larceny became. It used to be Old Fitzgerald.
Okay.
So we'll do we'll do some of those things.
Yeah.
Little Elijah Craig. They call this the hand grenade.
Oh yeah. Look at that.
125 proof.
Ooh.
And then the old school that's the old Weller Antique there. The price tag.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's the old bottles, but got some of those. Yeah, we'll do some cool stuff, man. That'll be fun.
I'm in. No, that'll be good.
That'll be fun. Yeah.
Here you go, Bobby. Yeah, that was fun, man. Good hangout, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for everybody you guys coming on, and thanks for the chat. I think there's some streams going on this weekend, so hopefully we'll see you guys around. If not, have a great Merry Christmas, and I'm sure we'll talk before the new year. So
thanks for hanging with us, chat. We appreciate it.
Yeah, Bobby and Boyd and everybody.
Yeah, very cool having you guys hang out. We appreciate it.
Let's see. What do we want to? Well, why don't we leave with this, the trade discussion in the league from earlier. Take care, guys. Have a good night.
You traded
the Tyreek
the fastest,
the cheetah,
the fastest skill player in the NFL. In the NFL, done. Now said in the NFL, you traded him for a number 2.
I had to. Well, Keenan Allen is getting old.
I mean,
I think Waddle is going to have a better fantasy season than Tyreek Hill is.
I'll tell you what. How about you say Waddle's going to have a better fantasy season than Tyreek Hill? You're saying it right here. I have a wager for you. I will put next year's first round pick on the line.
Okay. I'll take it with you.
Done.
That's huge. That's awesome. All right. Remember this. Everybody in the chat, write that down.
Tyreek Hill will have a better fantasy season than Waddle.
Oh, my.